Tom Hanks teamed up once more with Robert Zemeckis, now for the drama movie here, which will be the project that determines the legacy of their 30-year partnership. Tom Hanks continues to be one of the most popular and beloved actors of his generation thanks to his persona on and off the screen. Although Hanks' acting career peaked in the 1980s and 1990s, mostly in the genres of drama and romantic comedies, he has made a bit of everything in over 4 decades of his career. Of course, Hanks has collaborated with some directors, producers, and actors more than once, among them filmmaker Robert Zemeckis. Robert Zemeckis' career began in the 1970s with short films, with his first feature-length project being the comedy I Wanna Hold Your Hand, in 1978. Zemeckis gained attention when he directed the comedy-adventure movie Romancing the Stone in 1984, and 10 years later, he worked with Hanks for the first time in Forrest Gump. Since then, Hanks and Zemeckis have collaborated on a total of 4 movies, with a 5th scheduled for a 2024 release, and the latter will be key in determining the legacy of their partnership. Only half of Tom Hanks and Robert Zemeckis movies are fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. There's an interesting balance in Tom Hanks and Robert Zemeckis movies. Robert Zemeckis and Tom Hanks have teamed up on 4 movies, without counting here, all of them very different. First was Forrest Gump, in which Hanks played the title character, a man with a low IQ who recounts the early years of his life and how he found himself as part of key historical events. Forrest Gump was a big critical and commercial success, giving Hanks and Zemeckis the Academy Award for Best Actor and Best Director, respectively. Forrest Gump has a 76% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes and a 95% audience score, granting it a fresh label on both. Hanks and Zemeckis reunited in 2000 for the survival drama movie Cast Away, where Hanks played a FedEx troubleshooter who is stranded on an uninhabited island after his plane crashes in the South Pacific and must find ways to survive and return home. Cast Away was a critical and commercial success, and it holds an 89% critic score next to an 84% audience rating, once again earning a fresh label. These high ratings ended when Hanks and Zemeckis teamed up again in 2004 for The Polar Express. The Polar Express is an animated Christmas adventure movie that depicted human characters using live-action and motion capture computer animation, which at the time was innovative. The Polar Express follows a young boy who rides the title train bound for the North Pole, with Hanks playing multiple characters, such as the conductor. Unfortunately, The Polar Express got mixed reviews from critics and struggled at the box office, and it doesn't have a good rating on Rotten Tomatoes. The Polar Express has a 56% critic score, making it rotten, but a 64% audience score, making it fresh. In 2022, Hanks and Zemeckis worked together again in Pinocchio, the live-action remake of Disney's 1940 animated classic. Hanks played Geppetto, Pinocchio's creator and father, and the movie followed the exact same story as the animated version, though with a couple of changes, most notably the ending. Pinocchio follows an unfortunate trend of Disney's live-action remakes and has a 28% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes accompanied by a 27% audience score, making it rotten in both categories. Here will swing Hanks and Zemeckis' legacy on Rotten Tomatoes. Here will be a definitive movie in Hanks and Zemeckis' team. Tom Hanks holding a cake celebrating Robin Wright's 50th birthday in Here image via Sony Pictures. Tom Hanks and Robert Zemeckis' next collaboration is the drama movie Here, based on the 2014 graphic novel of the same name by Richard Maguire. Here shows the events of a single spot of land and its inhabitants, from the construction of the house to the many experiences the family living in it went through. For this, Here has the camera set on one spot and doesn't move at all. Instead, it's the setting and props that are changed, and the actors were technologically de-aged so the movie can tell their stories from the past, present, and future. Here stars Hanks as Richard Young and Robin Wright as his wife, Margaret, being the main characters of the story. Here is scheduled to premiere at the AFI Fest on October 25, 2024, before being theatrically released on November 1, 2024. No matter how well or badly it does with critics, Here will define if the majority of Hanks and Zemeckis movies are either fresh or rotten on Rotten Tomatoes. Will Here snap Tom Hanks and Robert Zemeckis' rotten streak with critics? Here will either end or worsen Hanks and Zemeckis' rotten streak. Tom Hanks and Robin Wright hold each other in Here. Custom image by Debanjana Chowdhury. Predicting the success or failure of Here is tricky due to the technology and techniques used in it. De-aging technology has been quite controversial in recent years, making it a tough sell, but the idea of a movie told in a single frame is quite interesting and enough to spark the audience's curiosity. Here could very well be the movie that gives Tom Hanks and Robert Zemeckis positive reviews again, but if the story isn't strong enough, it could continue their rotten streak.